Hello, everybody, and welcome to Huddle Time. Welcome to Huddle Time with Ronit. I hope you guys are having a really great Monday. Um, I'm looking outside my window. It's really dark out there. It's very foggy. It's Seattle, and it's October. So that's usually the weather right here in Seattle in October. So I hope you guys are having a great time and sunny wherever you guys are. Thank you for tuning in with American's Beauty Show with Cosmetology of Chicago. And each month we bring you a session where it is helpful tips, lessons, and solutions for an inspiration tips for anybody who needs inspiration in their life to get some tips of how to become more successful in their career. And of course, in our industry, we need more than anything guidance, solutions, and tips that allows us to excel in our businesses right now more than any other time. My name is Ronit Enos, and I am the host of Huddle Time with Ronit. And we started this show right when COVID started, and it's been growing tremendously. We've been bringing a lot of great experts and people that are helping us achieve our dreams and what we can do more. I am a wealth and strategy coach, a business coach, and I'm the founder of Salon Academy, Salon Cadence Academy. We are a high-end coaching and training company who helps high achievers, salon and spa, I would even say overachievers, salon and spa owners, booth renters, barbershops, succeed in their career, succeed in their relationship. And we love helping out. And this is why Huddle Time with Ronit has come to where it is today. Today, we have a really, really special guest. She's actually a sister of a very good friend, Jay Williams, who is also a great coach, a great business coach, great speaker, an author, and actually have a new book coming out, and we'll talk about it really soon. And he is going to be actually on our show again. We're going to be speaking about, I know, really great. He's going to be speaking about his new amazing book. He referred me to his sister, who is a licensed psychologist and a master's degree in social work. So a little bit of a background about Dr. C.C. Williams. She's a licensed psychologist and also hold a master's degree in social work, which in also related diverse background helps her to not only look at the individual, but also to take a person environment's background, family of origin and a social financial context into a consideration of her therapeutical experience. Her goal is to create warm, kind, and safe environment where her clients can achieve a really good balance in their life. To make her narrative is to make the journey valuable and enjoyable, even when it's uncomfortable. And we all know that going deep inside to our well-being could be uncomfortable at times. Her education and experience allowed her to work with clients experiencing anything from transitions, difficulties, high school, college, graduates to high school, any career challenges, relationship issues, issues with identity, whether any kind of diversity issues, sexual abuse, obtaining and maintaining greater independence from parents, spouses, depression, anxiety, all things that are actually normal, right? Because if you don't experience one of those things, there's some that cannot be so normal. So we're going to talk about what's really normal, what's not normal today. I do want to bring her over, and I want to say hello and bring her over today. I'm so excited to share her knowledge, her experience, and some great tips of how we can be even better, how our mental and wellness can help us succeed, not through this times only, but in the long term, right? Where we continue evolving and continue pivoting, and how we can change our narrative. So welcome.
Hi,
Dr.
thank
C,
you.
how are you? Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
So, Dr. Cece, we just met about 20 minutes ago, and I feel I already know you for a very long time. And how nice is it to have great curly hair? And you have a great haircut, by the way. Love it.
Thank you. Thank you. I have an amazing stylist who specializes in curly hair. Shout out to Kristen James. She's amazing. She's excellent.
Oh, that's good. And where is she out from? Let's give her a really good shout out.
Kristen James Salon, and I think it's technically Smyrna, Georgia. Kristen James. And don't be deceived by how she looks for all my curly girls who may be of darker hue. She is blonde, blue-eyed, and does an amazing curly cut.
Oh, I get that. I totally get it. And once you find somebody who knows curls, you never leave.
Never.
Right?
Everybody in our office goes there. My friends, clients, everybody goes to Kristen.
Oh, that's so great. That's so nice to have somebody that really understands more than just, like your general look, but actually can listen, and everybody is going to. So what makes the hairdresser be so great? What do you think?
Well, listen, I think one of your other guests was talking about the parallel path of a stylist and a therapist. And I will tell you, especially as I became a mom and had less and less time to myself, Kristen gives amazing haircuts, obviously. And she is like, it's just great to be there. It's all about me. I get to talk, vomit. She's excited. She's upset with me. Any and everything. She gives me great advice. Get this. One time she told me, get this certain seat, put it in the shower, then that way you can bathe your kid. So she's a resource of him. She's told me where to go on vacation. But anyway, so what makes a great stylist is not only the actual service of, a consistent quality haircut. It is the other soft skills that come along with it that I enjoy. I literally look to her as my replenishment. That is my time. I feel comfortable. I feel heard and attended to and excited to see me. So it's a warm, safe space, right? If someone I feel cares about me, remembers what's going on. So shout out to all you therapists who I do agree. It's a parallel. There's different services that I provide, but you guys are constant. You grow up with people. You know people's family members and friends. You're in a unique situation to really have your finger on the pulse and be there and creating this opportunity environment for someone who may really be thirsty for some attention, time, and peace.
Thank you, Dr. Cece.
Yeah.
It's nice to hear it from your side, which intrigued a question in my mind. Is now, of course, when we're going back to our favorite salons, things are different.
Yeah.
It's not as personalized, or it's not as touchy and huggy as it was before COVID. What have you experienced in the dynamic or the vibe that is changed out of your side? And while you're answering that, what would be a good tip to elevate the personalization and elevate the relationship? Because as you said, it's all relationship based. So what do you think in your mind is different, and how can we fix it, or how can we improve it?
I think as a client, and again, this is for everything, Renee. It's you. It's you that we come to see. It's you that we come to be heard or laugh with. So I think the best way to work past the masks and the maybe less contact and the distance is just keep being you. We can all laugh and talk through the masks or through different safety procedures, but it's still yourself. So I just encourage stylists and salon owners to just bring yourself, because that's what we're coming for, in addition to your quality services.
Yeah, I totally agree that's how we can do it. So, whether you're going through a mask or a shield, you can still find a way to be warm and fuzzy and huggy.
Yes.
Even
Yes.
just talking about it, even just talking
Yes.
about it, say something like, Dr. CC, I'm so sorry. I have my mask on. I'm actually excited about my mask.
Yes.
Do you think it's a, what do you think about my mask today? I changed the color. I did something else.
Yes.
Oh, by the way, I have a great one for you. Here's a gift. Or
Yes.
even
Oh,
elevate the game.
yes. So things like that are fun masks. Or I know Kristen, she puts these hysterical um, like notes around. There's snarky, sarcastic comments on these chalkboards around it. So you just feel her personality throughout the whole salon. And obviously, staff wise, it's supportive of that. But
Yeah.
just remaining. And I will say to you, even psychologically, like, people can feel you. So in these COVID times, all of my sessions are telehealth. And that was a huge adjustment for me because I am huggy. I am lovey. If you're crying, I want to give you a tissue. If you need a hug, I got you. So that's a challenge when you have this barrier between you. However, through doing it over time, I realize me still comes out, and I can, the gesture of my heart is with you, I'm air hugging you, that resonates with people. So salon owners, just even if it feels weird to you, but it feels in your soul that you want to hug someone, etc., is tell them you're air hugging, or I can't wait to hug you. That goes a long, long way of remaining connected.
Yeah, and I agree with that. Now, let's talk a little bit about you. What made you decide later in your career, or maybe you wouldn't even want to start by telling us what made you decide to go into this field, and not only what made you, well, what made you take a specialty of what you're doing. And I think you're more an innovative in your field. What is the difference between that um, than what you have your convention, your regular therapist?
Okay. So in terms of why did I come into this field, it's what I was born to do. It's literally what I was made to do. And so I I don't have something flowery other than I was always the friend listening, etc. And even when I tried to go to college undecided and say, no, I'm not going to be a psychologist, this is my first love. And I want to highlight that because for those of you who know that this is your industry, this is your craft, please believe it. It if it's what you're made to do, own it. Own it, know it, and go for it. Because that's really, again, what resonates. For Kristen, this is in her bones. This is what she does. And for myself, I think for you, in terms of knowing yourself, I always say to thine own self be true, because fighting it takes way more energy, it's exhausting, and it's less productive. So the answer to the question is this is what I was made to do. Um, why I specialized or decided to pay attention, especially to people, because I was always interested. I am the youngest of four, and so I'm always watching people. Relationships were extremely important to me. My parents have been married and divorced several times, and so I really wanted to understand what went into people, what made them work, not work, what were the hangups, what were the unresolved issues that really needed to be addressed, so that, as you read earlier in terms of my bio, we could all live our best, highest functioning life. And I wanted to know for myself, and I wanted to be able to be a conduit for others to help them on their journey to make that happen as well. I also know how valuable therapy was to me growing up, and I wanted to be able to provide that to someone else.
I love that you bring in that your personal story into it. I believe, strongly believe that our past history affects a lot of what we do in the future.
Yes.
We bring from our past things that affected to us into the
Yeah.
future, and we keep telling us stories, those bad stories about what happened in the past will happen again. What happened in the past happened again, even though it happened to our parents, and even though it happens to somebody else in our life that affected us, we still somehow, the narrative keeps coming and showing up in the future, whether we take it to our business, to our relationships. All of that just helped, just let us you know, develop this mindset of that holds us back, right? So by
Yes.
listening to you, I believe we all have a gift to give to the world, and it always, like you said, with people. And so when I heard you, I'm thinking to myself, if we could talk to our audience out there, all our salon owners, our beauty industry, all this super duper men and women who are high achievers and working so hard to be successful, what are the first things that you do as a therapist to navigate that? And I love if you, because we talked about it a little bit before, I love if you can even mention something about COVID is just another name for the same challenges that we have.
Yes. Yes. So the question is, how do we navigate getting to a professional place and then manage our fears? Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah.
Okay.
So how more than it's like, how do we conquer the
Hmm.
things that holding us back?
Yes. Okay. So what you said earlier, I 100% co-sign. And what I mean by that is, I always say history informs us. It doesn't shape us, but it does inform us. And our ancestors are in our bones. Our memories of the people who came before us, they're literally in our DNA. So I'm not just being metaphorical about it. The the importance of knowing our history is that it can help us to see what has influenced us, but it can also help us know what holds us back. And as we were talking earlier, one of the biggest things that holds us back is our fear of letting our lights shine, our fear of letting ourselves be whoever we are, our fear of success, our fear of wealth, our fear of not knowing. One of the things you and I talked about a little bit earlier was, and I'll come back to addressing this, but just I think one that most of us can relate to is when we ask for our fee. It can be very, very fear inducing and panic attacking to say, I am going to charge this amount for my services. And that usually is an evolution and a journey. For younger stylists who get into the business and they have a great mentor, as you spoke about, then that usually starts them further along the fee continuum. But there's still this maturation that needs to happen, this maturity and addressing of our own fears about dealing with money and not projecting that, putting that onto other people. So if you grew up in a situation where either money was tight or someone was constantly making you penny pinch or count it, you may not have a comfort level with asking for whatever your fee may be. Um, let's I'm this is not real. I just, in terms of not knowing the range of what other people charge, I'm just going to do really low amounts. So if you think that $10 is a lot to ask somebody for a haircut, which again, everybody, I know that's not a real cost, but the concept of asking for 50 could create a bunch of panic for you,
Yeah.
including when clients push back.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, but that's so much, and maybe they can't afford. And then you see them come in with new purses.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, I guess they could afford. So
Yeah.
some of the work I do with people and what I encourage as salon owners and stylists to do for themselves is to really take a look at what your fears are, how they get in the way, challenge them, and what we call is challenge your a priori beliefs, your beliefs that you just woke up with.
Mm.
This is too much. People are going to think that I am being um, thinking I'm hoity or better than I am. Um, I don't deserve this. This is unrealistic. Whatever those fears are, to actually address them, to look at, I always say, just the facts. And whether you're a male, just the facts, man, just the facts. Or if you're female, just the facts, ma'am, just the facts. Or identify somewhere in between, self, just the facts. What are the facts? Is somebody else charging 50? Well, I guess then somebody could pay 50.
Yeah.
What are your issues getting in the way? And that could be anything. So we talked about identity. If you're one of something in a salon that's completely something else, do you turn your light down or do you just come up as yourself? You're bubbly and other people are very straight laced, or you are same sex loving and everyone is heterosexual and Bible thumping. Whatever it is, do you show up as yourself? And if you are not accepted, do you have the courage to go to where you will be?
I love that. And you mentioned that a few times, about know yourself and become yourself.
Yes.
And what is the best way? I know it takes a long time, Dr. Cece, and I know even for you as a doctor, and to develop your therapy skills, and focus on the things that you love doing, and to focus on the priority.
Yes.
What kind of an exercise do you do, or do you recommend to do, in order to get to know who you are, identify who you are, and go to the world as who you are, and don't care, you
Yes.
know you
Yes.
don't care about whatever people say. Now, being an Israeli, I will tell you that that's something that comes easy to me, right?
Yes.
But easier to me, I would say, because I think in the culture of American, I feel like there's a lot more of holding back,
Yes. Yes.
and that comes in a high cost.
It
So
does.
what's your, yeah, yeah.
It does. And I take this very seriously. You're right. I do keep mentioning it. The high cost can be death, the high cost can be suicide. And so I just want to throw that out there. That is why I am so passionate about it. Trying to live a double, triple, quadruple life is draining and exhausting, and it can result in your life. So, in terms of the journey that it takes to thy own self be true, I of course am biased, so I always encourage therapy. I think again, it's a great place to have dedicated time to you, for someone to get to know you, to not spend their time talking about themselves unless it's something useful for you to, a good example to help you. But for someone who's, when a client comes to me, I'm looking at them, I'm hearing them, I'm reading between the lines, I'm seeing what they're saying, what they're not saying, if their face is doing something. I am interpreting all of that. So I'm really, really paying attention to all of these details and your patterns. So sometimes it's useful. We don't always see what other people see. I guess it's similar to a stylist when a client comes in and says, I want this haircut. And you're like, no, that's not going to work for you. Or, okay, well, I
Yeah.
think this would be better, right? You see things in a way that's different than
Yeah.
maybe the average person. I think the other part is I always give people a homework assignment of, especially when people's self perception is so far from reality, phone a friend. I ask them to have their friends email me traits about them. How would you describe such and such? So you guys can do that too. Like, hey, your closest people who would actually write something thoughtful. And it doesn't have to be a whole paragraph, but what do you see? How would you describe me? Just that. How would you describe me? And then just see what you get. And 10 times out of 10, you will get a consistent response. So if you're having trouble identifying your own traits, or you think something about you, but you keep hearing, you're great, you're wonderful, and you're like, I don't know what you're seeing, then it's useful to have other people give you that specific feedback. And then what I challenge my clients to do is, here's the facts, and here's your fantasies or delusions, because I do like to keep it real with people. So I
Yeah,
will tell
no,
you it's not
it's
adding up.
true. Yeah, and maybe it's a process, and it's a great exercise. I think it's a great exercise. I forgot about that exercise. You can just text all your best
Yeah.
five, your support system, the
Yes.
people who believe in you. And I want
Yes.
to talk about support system, the people who believe in you, and ask them, what are the five top things that you think are great about me? And what are the five top things that you don't think are great about me? Maybe that's a
Yeah.
great
Various.
start.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I think, when I'm thinking about, right now, how stylists and business owners in our industry are going through a really tough time. They have challenges such as, you know, we don't have enough hours to sell because we're limited with the capacity of how many people we can have in the salon. They cannot engage their staff. The staff is not as motivated. Some of their staff have to deal with homeschooling.
Yes.
Some of their staff, they can. A lot of staff is overwhelmed with what's
Yeah.
going on around the world and around them in their daily life. So they're asking for more flexible schedules. What do you think? And I always think it's so great to have a therapy implemented, the therapy session implemented in the salon and to support their stylist. But what do you think will be a great exercise to overcome this overwhelm that everybody is dealing right now with not being able to control it, to control all of that?
Yes. Okay. So one part that you're talking about is kind of top down of, so I would imagine as a salon owner, when you have 5 people, 3 have kids, 2 don't, and your hours used to be one thing and now it's not, how do you manage that in an effective way? And to your point about therapy, most businesses, and especially small ones, it's a family. So it's very useful to have a therapist for your family, your work family, and to work out any kinks or misunderstandings. I think you mentioned my brother, Jay Williams. I love him. He's really,
I do too.
yeah, I do love him. He's really wonderful. Anyway, um, but one of the services he provides, it's very similar to what I do, is helping get at the root of, or at the crux of, what is going on between the family members so that you can really address the solution and not get caught up in the little details. And when, I can imagine as a stylist who's worried about homeschool, which is just, I mean, again, hats off to the teachers. It is not a life I want to choose, and I'm so appreciative that they're there. But when you're juggling being a professional and this new job of not only potentially even teaching or overseeing online learning, et cetera, for your children, there's also food and childcare. You could have an anxiety or fear that your salon owner may not be understanding, your clients won't be understanding, and you may limit yourself because you don't say what's happening. You may be afraid of judgment, afraid that you're being high maintenance. Instead, if you would just use your words, talk it through, communicate with your family, then you can create a win-win solution. And so I think that having an overall family therapist for the business is useful. I think having individual therapy so you have the courage to have tough, courageous conversations and to just be real, right? These are all these themes tying together. Be honest about what you're going through. And most times people can be flexible. If everybody understands that the common goal is this is a thriving business and we want to grow it, then you don't get caught in up with you don't want to be here, you don't care, all these things. It's just we have to create a working situation. So I encourage the salon owners to be mindful and create a safe space, how they do with their own clients, for their stylists to speak up and to be creative, to think, how can we address this issue? So if it's, someone used to be here from 10 to 3, maybe the crew that has older kids is there from 10 to 3, and the crew that doesn't is there from 3 to 6, or, some version, or someone takes weekends because during
Yeah.
Monday through Friday,
Yeah.
you can't be there. Whatever that is, it's creating this shared goal
Yeah.
so that it's more teamwork rather than not. But again, to your point, I really appreciate you bringing this whole um, umbrella up of feeling the fear and the being overwhelmed, and that often causes paralysis. You get
Yes.
stuck because it feels so much, and it's just like,
Yeah.
So when you use your words, start talking it out. When you allow your friends, your support group to really support you, then I always tell people, then you're not just consulting with yourself. And when you're
I
just
love
consulting
that.
yourself, there's only so many options you can come up with.
Here's something that you said that I think it's brilliant. Hear yourself out, talk it out. You know, if it's in your brain, it's going to stay in your brain and it's going to marinate and it's going to marinate and it's going to continue being there and it's going to do nothing good for you. So if I could suggest, you know, I speak to myself quite a bit, right? I speak to myself all the time. If I'm in the car, I speak to the mirror. If I'm, even now, I mean, I'm by myself speaking to you, but I'm always speaking to myself. I listen to myself. And at 5 o'clock in the morning, when I usually wake up at 4:30, and at 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm on my couch and I write
Yeah,
everything that comes to my mind,
that's
everything.
awesome.
I go for an hour and I just write and I write. And this is before my gratitude exercise. And so if we can listen to ourselves
Yeah.
out loud, just listen to yourself and write it down, I think we can come up with the worry list. What is our worry?
Yes.
What is the
I,
problem?
yes, I think that's an amazing strategy. Go you. I told you there's a lot of parallels between being a psychologist.
I hear
What
you.
that does is it gets it off your head and your heart. You are vomiting. You're vomiting and you're putting it on paper so you no longer have to keep it on the hamster wheel. You don't have to keep remembering to, oh, right, I need to do X, Y, and Z. It's now on a paper so you don't have to hold it down. So I think that's an awesome strategy to reduce your anxiety and to hopefully help you see it more from a bigger picture to connect the dots rather than being in the weeds only. Details are important, but it helps you either see themes, patterns, or to be able to clearly communicate that to your support system, a great friend, a parent, a coach, so that they can help you see a path.
Yeah, yeah. So if you have a challenge or challenges such as overwhelmed, and here's a couple of paradox I like to call them,
Okay, yes.
and I'm going to read them and tell me what comes to your mind.
Okay.
I'm not good enough.
So I love this one. I mean, I don't love for people to feel this way, but I love this one. I generally ask people, so you can do this for yourself, but again, sometimes you're not your best friend there. Having a good friend who's sound or a good coach, etc. What is your proof for that? So again, just the facts. What is your proof that you are not enough? What is your definition of good enough? Why do you not fit it? Who does? So there's a lot of people who, so let's take relationships because that impacts all of us. A lot of people have these ideals and rainbows and butterflies about what a real marriage looks like. And I like to tell people, like, well, I'd love for you to think I'm perfect and everything in my life is golden. It's not. There are times where I want to shake my husband and I love him, right?
Yeah,
Sometimes I'm sad. Sometimes he disappoints me. I disappoint him. That is a real relationship. And so I challenge people to think about, for example, a stylist that they think is so busy, has all these clients, everybody loves them. Are they perfect? Do they have no relationship issues? Were they always this way? If you ask them, do they think they're perfect? Like, what is your definition of worthiness? And what is your proof that you're not? Does that make sense? Like, challenge your beliefs,
absolutely.
define your fears. And are you really telling the truth? I'm a big proponent of telling the
Yeah,
truth to yourself, especially.
yeah.
Does that
And if
answer
it's
your
hard for
question?
you, no, totally. And if it's hard for you to tell the truth, write it. Write
Yes.
it and then read it to yourself. Yeah, I
Yes.
love what you're saying. Find the facts.
Yeah.
So obviously, when you say I am not good enough,
Mm-hmm.
um, and you're telling yourself, well, what are the facts? Show me the facts that are showing that I am not good enough. Find what is good enough for yourself. But here's the problem that comes to the second word,
Okay.
uh, comparing.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So, my favorite example about this is I have two little ones, and they're only a year and a half apart, which I love, they love. However, for the youngest, It's always comparison city. So I remember when my kindergartner came home and had homework, to which I was deeply disappointed about. It meant more work for me, but he was enthusiastic about. So of course, cheer him on. And little brother said, "How come I don't have homework? I want homework." And I was like, "Oh, you have no idea what you're asking for." No, you don't. So I had to tell him that his homework was to play. But it's a fool's errand. It is a fool's errand. I guarantee you, because you're never comparing apples to apple. And to what end? Why are we comparing? For what? And again, if we say, so you and I with our curlies, right? Oh, Ronit, your curls are better. Oh no, Cece, your curls are better. Says who? Or
Yeah.
you have curly hair. Well, I wish my hair was curly. Well, I wish my hair was straighter. You don't know what comes along with curly hair. I washed this yesterday to get this
Yeah.
look today.
Yeah.
Okay. But
Yeah.
my point just being, again, you need to challenge your beliefs. Why are
Yes.
you making it seem like someone else is perfect or more ideal
Yeah.
and you're not? Do you really know their life story? Do you know
No.
how they got there? Do you know
No.
what they're dealing with behind all of that?
No.
No. And
No.
either way, you can't control it.
Yeah.
One of
Yeah.
the things they say at my kids' school, which I thought was super wonderful, I might screw it up a little bit, but be concerned about others, worry about yourself. Or care for others, but worry about yourself.
Yeah.
My
Empathy.
Yeah,
Empathy is good.
yes, and you are the captain of your own ship.
Yeah.
I am a firm believer in that. You are the captain of your own ship. You cannot make anyone do anything. For example, you're I almost said therapist. You're a seasoned stylist.
It's the same.
Just you have better cutting skills. But anyway, I have good heart and intention, but I don't think I can do what you do. But you you think that oh, I should do something this way or I should do something that way, and then you look at someone else. Again, you have no idea what's happening, and you just need to control yourself. And when you have a client that comes in and says, "I would like to dye my hair fuchsia, shave it, and put stars in it," and you're like, "This is a business executive. She just went through a breakup, and I don't think she really wants this." But she's like, "Yes, I do." What are you gonna do? I mean,
What
you
do you?
could refuse. You could refuse to cut her hair, but this, you say, "Okay," you can tell her, but you can't force her to do otherwise, because that
Right.
person can leave and go to some other stylist who will do what they say. So I just want to keep reminding everybody, you are the captain of your ship. It's your job
Yes.
to make your success. When you worry about other people, it distracts you from your goal.
Yeah. I strongly believe in that. And the sooner we adopt that approach, the healthier we become. The
Yes.
healthier we become. So comparing today is even harder because you have Facebook to compare to and Instagram
Yeah.
to compare to. And most successful, 95% of successful people, I would say 100% of successful people, you don't know what they do every day to
Yes.
show up to the world. We
Yes.
all have, I mean, I listen to many podcasts and I speak to many clients of ours. I speak to so many great successful people. And even the word successful, in your eyes, success has to be identified. What is
Yes.
success for you?
Yes.
What do you need to do to get there? And how do you bridge it? That's
Yes.
it. You
Yes.
got to go with a peaky blinders and say, I don't care what they have. I don't care what's on Facebook. I don't care what's on Instagram. What do I need to do to achieve my success in my
Yes.
eyes?
May I expound on that for a moment?
Please, please.
Okay. That is such a valuable point. Success is relative. So when you're starting out in your career, success may be one thing. When you get to a different phase, it may be something else. When you get older, when your life gets bigger, or whatever happens, your definition of success changes. And I would pray that people understand that it is a living organism and it is defined by you. So I could work 5 days. I don't choose to, because my definition of success is I want to be a professional woman. I want to make a great income. And I'm a mom and I want to be there with my children. I want to be there for those moments. I want to hear the enthusiasm when they get off of school. I want to make them breakfast. That's for me. For certain people, that may not be a priority. Not that they don't want to be a good mom, but just they may emphasize other areas. So I don't work those times. I don't work 5 days. I work 3 days. And I work at the crack of dawn and I end early at 3. And for some people, they may be terrified of that.
I love
But
this.
so again, if we connect all the dots, to thine own self be true, know your worth, and then your definition of success, my fees allow me to have a 3-day schedule so that I can also have time to be with my babies. Okay?
Dr.
That's
CC,
important to me. I
Dr.
want to
CC,
have a good marriage. I want to have a good family, etc.
that's brilliant. I
And
was
I
just
don't take
wondering,
and
I
I
was,
just as a side note, I
going,
don't take a vow of poverty to do it. And but that comes with knowing my worth, knowing that people, not keeping myself in a fear huddle, and opening it up and allowing others to encourage and pour into me, and when I feel uncertain, to be able to phone a friend, to be able to consult with my colleagues, and to realize I can have, is my life perfect? No, but it is a really good life.
mm,
So sorry,
mm.
I feel very strongly about that.
I feel like you and I have been conversing on this for like years. This is what we teach with our clients. What we do is exactly what you said. We look at what's the perfect week, what's the perfect day, what's the perfect year that you want to have.
Yes,
So
yes,
describe it, write it down. Write it down. How
yes,
many hours
yes,
do you want to work? Do you want to work behind the chair? Do you want to work as an educator? What is it that you want to do? What's going to give you the most pleasure?
yes,
Then tell us how many hours do you want to be at home? How
yes,
many how many days do you want to take vacation? Where do you want to
yes,
go on vacation?
yes,
What do
yes.
you want to do for development? How much education? And then put a price on it. What
Hmm.
is the amount of money that you need to do
To
in
make that
order to
happen.
support that type of a lifestyle? Now, take that, see what's your cost for you to run that time, and then charge your worth that will align with these goals. There's no
Yes,
other way. There's just
yes,
no other way.
yes.
I
I
love that. Thank you.
yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you. Is it possible for us stylists? 100% yes.
Yes,
But we're going back from comparing
yes.
to something that brings me this criticism.
Yes.
Criticism.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So you mentioned earlier that many of your clients, quite honestly, are extremely high achieving or overachieving, right?
Yes,
And that's another word for perfectionists. Let's just be honest.
that's.
Or shall I say, people who feel very comfortable with having things in their control or the way they
I
like it,
was just
right?
gonna say that.
Right?
Yeah.
So I really encourage people to accept that they're perfectionists, to see if that's working for them. And in some ways it does, and in some ways it does not. Okay? So harness your powers. I can lean towards OCD. That works for me because my office is always clean. It doesn't work for me when a situation requires me to be flexible. So I have to know when to use my superpowers and when to rein them in. So part of, again, knowing yourself, getting, knowing your worth, speaking up, and valuing yourself is being able to not criticize yourself, to be flexible, to laugh things off. And again, just the facts. When you want to criticize yourself because you're not making as much as Billy over here, I want you to ask yourself, to what end? Like, why am I criticizing myself? Is that helping? So I've heard you say, Ronit, several times, we want solutions. And I think most people want solutions. Criticism is not useful for solutions. Constructive feedback, awesome. Or if you're saying to yourself, you know what, I'm not having enough time at the salon, or I'm not having enough time at home, or I am at home and I'm at the salon, but I don't have enough vacation. Okay, that's useful information. But you berating yourself and saying, I never get this together, I never, then you spin your wheels in that criticism cycle instead of spinning your wheels in the solution.
Mm,
So
brilliant.
criticism is like adding bricks and anvils to your feet. It's pointless.
Yeah.
Again, useful feedback, taking stock of your life and saying, I don't really like where I am. Great. Then what do you do about it? And doing reduces anxiety. Having a
Mm,
plan and executing it, even if it's not perfect, gives you a sense of control, a sense of ownership.
yeah.
And again, just the facts. When you look at, so for, like you said, if someone looked at you, Ronit, they would never know you were in the military.
No.
Never.
No. No.
Right?
No.
But you were.
Mm, yeah.
If someone looked at me, they may not know I am technically Jewish. They wouldn't know my mother's Jewish. They
I
wouldn't know
know. I know
I
that.
okay, I grew up in I spent time in Idaho, northern Idaho. And you're
Yeah.
in Seattle, so you have a sense of where who would look at me and know that? My point being, don't
Judgment.
yes, judgment. Stop judging other people, stop comparing yourself, stop criticizing. You don't know what went into somebody else doing something. And again, it is not useful. It creates
Mm,
energy. It's something to do to
yeah.
criticize, but it's not useful. And perfectionism is an unattainable goal. And putting yourself or anyone else on a pedestal, you only have one way to go, and that's to fall down.
And I love that you're saying that, and it brings us to our next topic, which is basically the number one solution. I think we all can share and have the same. But even before that, what you said, stop criticizing, stop judging, and then you said, technically, we can be what we think we are, or it seems to be what other people think of us. And again, that's criticism. That's uh, even if you said perfectionism is wrong, and maybe if we can offer solutions such as, instead of being a perfectionist, be a goal driven.
Yes,
Instead of being a goal driven, be a mission driven,
yes,
and look to see what can fulfill your soul every day, what can
yes,
fulfill your soul, that makes you happy,
yes,
with the financial backup behind it, because without the financial backup behind it, you cannot do a lot of things. So the thing is that what I want to bring it into it is, now when I listen to you, I know that I need to stop judging. I know that I need to stop comparing myself. I know that I need to listen to the fact and stop this limited belief, and the bad energy, and the too much of energy that we don't have to do right now. But instead, find the solutions, find how to get rid of my worry. How do I can't make it happen overnight. But
correct.
what would be the best thing for us, salon owners, business owners, brand manufacturers, anybody in the
Yeah,
beauty industry, but anybody in general that is a goal driven, that is a mission driven, that wants to be successful in their own eyes? How can we constantly do this and not fall back into overwhelm, procrastination, and all of that stuff?
that's a great question. I'm going to answer that question. And let me just say this because you brought up a really good point. And so I want to edit for everyone who's listening.
Awesome.
It's easy for me to say stop because that's what I wish you would do. A more accurate statement is you're welcome to do that. It's just not serving you. Okay. And so that then brings me to the answer to your question: compassion and flexibility. If I had to give you a word to really encompass how do we get out of those old habits, it's compassion. And what that means in a very tangible way is I lean towards perfectionism. That's not going to go away. It is in my bones. Period. I accept that about myself. And then I have compensatory strategies, things in place that help me balance that. I know I lean towards being perfectionistic or rigid, whatever my definition of that is. So again, let's take something innocuous like cleaning. I like everything to be very clean. Well, what happens when I want everything to be clean and there's 20 minutes to spend time with my kids? Then what do I do? And so I have to be flexible. I have to be compassionate with myself. I have to understand and look at, zoom back and say, yeah, you could do all this cleaning, but what about your babies? And you're not going to get this time back. And am I perfect with that all the time? No. So I'm compassionate enough to know that sometimes I'm going to err on cleaning. I'm compassionate and flexible enough to know, hey, put that down, go hang out with them for a minute and come back to this. And knowing, again, challenging your beliefs about what is perfectionist, being a perfectionist mean, being compassionate with yourself, having grace, understanding that it is a journey, life is a journey, everything is a journey. And the thing is whether you fall back on your coping mechanisms, your old ones that are not useful for you, we all do. When you're sick, when you're tired, when you're in a bind, we all resort to denial, avoidance, all those things, whatever is your thing. So have grace. Yes, sometimes I'm going to stumble, and then I can pick myself up. Both of those things are true. So when I say about telling yourself the truth, it's you don't have to, as I said earlier, just stop it. I mean, that's nice. I wish we could, but that's not realistic. I help people understand if you lean towards anxiety, I don't have a magic stick. I'm not going to make you not anxious. What I am going to do is help you with tools to manage your anxiety, to adjust your thought process so things don't become so anxiety provoking, and to teach you strategies to get through when you do feel anxious or to manage situations that feel overwhelming. So, grace, compassion, flexibility, and the truth, I think, are all solution focused
Mm.
tools that you can have in your tool belt.
Thank you for that, Dr. Sissy. I hardly believe that we cannot do it alone.
Yes.
We need to have coaches. If you
Yeah.
want to be successful in business, hire a coach.
Yeah.
Just do it. Uh,
Yes.
if you want to have a lot of mindset and mentorship and wellness around you, hire a therapist. If
Yes.
you're a salon owner, a business owner, provide that to your staff as well. Now, when I think about that, I'm thinking to myself, there's a lot of us out there that are older generation,
Mm-hmm.
or a different background of culture, that believe that it's a privilege or something is wrong with us if we do
Yes.
get a therapy. And to me, it's, are you kidding me? We have health insurance now that pay for that. And
Yes.
there's some if you have 22 sessions a year, get them.
Use
But
them.
if you don't, and you don't, plan it in your budget, plan
Yeah.
it in your budget. Now, you believe in that as well.
Yes, I do.
What will be a great, because here's the thing, I've always I think through my life I've always had mentors, therapists, coaches, and business coaches, and it's not easy to find a good match for you.
Yes.
Not easy, and that can be discouraging. What's the best way to find a great therapist?
Okay. So you mentioned really great points. I'm going to try and tie them all
Oh
together.
yeah, I'm always doing it in a bunch
Okay.
of points.
All right. So if I leave something out, just remind me. I 100% agree with you that listen, if someone else is doing something great, go talk to them. So that's your point about a business coach, a life coach. If someone else is doing what you want to do, when I have high school students or people changing careers, I always tell them, go talk to whoever is doing it, what you think you want to do, and learn it's their experience, but go to at least 3 people and figure out, do you really like everything that comes along with that profession or not? So I'm a huge proponent of talking to someone who has wisdom, knowledge based experience. The other part of that is, as you mentioned earlier, it's knowing your worth. So there's generally a fee attached to seeking out professional help, whatever that is. Just like there's a fee to go get a great haircut, and someone could go to a $5 haircut place. It's probably, maybe someone is really amazing starting their career and they're wonderful and they're just starting there, but probably a different haircut than your $100 plus haircut, and definitely a different experience. So there's a reason that there is a cost associated with things. I'm not saying that money necessarily, the cost or the someone's fee necessarily means that they're an expert. I just mean that there's a reason generally why people charge a fee. And you have to know I am worth it. That is part of your self-care investment in you so that you can be your best self, your best stylist, your best salon owner, business manufacturer, that you believe in you. If you don't believe in you, if you don't invest in you, I don't know why you think someone else is going to believe in you, invest in you, your company, your business, your brand. So that's one part of it, is knowing your worth, not being afraid to invest in yourself. And in terms of finding the right fit, this is huge. I do not tell people just find a psychologist, a social worker, a therapist, and just go to whoever. Whoever's affordable, whoever's near you. I do not say that. Just like I wouldn't just refer any salon or stylist. I encourage people to trust their gut and to us trust their intuition. It's given to us for a reason. When I encourage people to look for therapists, I say read people's bios, look at their picture. Do they feel right to you? And feel right can mean a couple of things. Do you feel comfortable? Do you feel safe? I definitely want that. Now, comfortable could mean comfortable. I know they're good for me. This is uncomfortable, but I know it's good for me. Or uncomfortable, this is bad. I don't work well with this person. So when you are looking for a stylist or a salon to work where you would work, or a coach or a therapist, listen to yourself. If someone, so Ronit, you're so easy to talk to, and you're confident and you're knowledgeable, that feels good to me. Maybe someone else it may not, but I think that feels good to a lot of people, and so that makes me trust you. And my brother talks a lot about trust, and like when you trust someone, things go a lot quicker. So I encourage people that when they do find or are looking for someone to be on their life team and their life journey, to trust your gut about, does this feel right to you? And is this person providing what you need? Someone can be really knowledgeable, but you're just not a good fit. When I refer people to my colleagues, I take style into approach. I mean, it's style into consideration. So there's some therapists who sit and say, mm-hmm, mm-hmm, okay, thank you for sharing. Have a great week. That's not me.
Wow, that will kill me.
Well, yes,
Oh,
but
that
I
would kill me. I would probably
do.
shoot myself. Yeah.
Yes. For someone like you want my facial expressions. You want me to be like, well, I don't agree with that, but do you? You want that. So for someone like you, we would be a good fit. But for someone else who's a little more contained, or I have to take cultural consideration. So I might be very expressive, which I could tone it down. But if someone, let's say, is coming from an Asian population where there is a hierarchy and it's more comfortable to have a over not so much over under, but I respect you, I defer to you, then I need to take that into consideration. Because
Mm-hmm.
someone who's more collaborative might feel just too ego dystonic, too different for them, and they're spending their time trying to get the good fit and not working on themselves. So I took a like kind of a long path, but what I'm saying is, for those of your listeners who are looking for people to be a part of their journey and support them and lift them up, don't discount goodness of fit. That's
Yeah.
really important.
Yeah.
And
I think that
obviously credentials and qualifications, and you may
absolutely.
have to pay more for that.
Absolutely. I think that what I do know, and maybe there's other resources. There's something that calls Zoo Doctor, that you can actually look into Zoo Doctor of any kind of therapist around your area, and reviews and all of that stuff. Is there anything out there that, like, something like good referrals or good references that people can look that digitally? I mean, maybe not Match.com, but something like that.
Well, listen, it's funny you say that, and you might have heard me before. Psychology Today is a good place to start, and I do call it Match.com for therapists because you can look at people and read their bios.
Totally.
You can
Totally.
swipe left or right, like you could see. Do I even like how you look? Do you look like a weirdo? If someone looks like a weirdo, okay. If they look like a weirdo to you, skip to the next person. Psychology Today, Therapy Finder, Therapy Tribe. I think there's different venues. If you just type in "find a therapist," probably different different venues pop up. And even if, like, listen, again, in this in sense of to thine own self be true, say what you want, put
Yeah.
in your zip code. Like, it's a less significant now, because I encourage people to find someone who's geographically convenient for you, because
Yeah.
you might go after work or before work. Because we're in the era of teletherapy, that's a little, it's not as necessary, but eventually
I
you'll
actually kind of like that. I think
yeah.
that's open doors. It opened doors.
Oh, completely. So I think that, you do get a wider range, but I encourage people to say what they want. If you want someone who is a male, if you want them to be black, white, Puerto Rican, or Haitian, put it in, ask
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
You'll be given who you really need, but it's okay to just say what you think you want
Yeah.
and let the chips fall where they may. I remember one therapy situation, and I pray, I was like, please, God, give me somebody who's older, wise, blah, blah, blah. I got an intern. And I was
Wow.
like, what?
Wow.
Great therapist.
Okay.
Great
Yeah.
therapist. I gave
Yeah.
it a try, right?
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
ended up, she was amazing and wonderful. So, we have to challenge our judgments, but put it out into the universe. If you're spiritual, put it out to whoever you believe in, and trust that whatever's brought to you will be a good thing. But it needs to feel right. If 2 or 3 sessions in, it's not feeling right, be okay with that. Say that, and maybe the therapist can adjust, or
Yeah.
you please trust it's not a good fit for you. And that's with any, I think you would say that too as a coach. If for every coach that doesn't fit for you, there's someone who will. Ask for what you want,
Absolutely.
go by how it feels to you, and ask friends. So a lot of people are afraid. And again, culturally, that might be an issue. You have to
Yeah.
be crazy to see a therapist. That's not a requirement. You can just be a normal person, a normal neurotic, I like to say, just, it's just life, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I
It's
agree. I agree with that. I love the fact that you said, um, if you're gonna go get a haircut for $10, it's going to look like $10. If you're looking for something that is more a great fit for you, you might have to really think about budgeting for that. For
yes.
anybody out there, salon owners, I highly recommend and highly encourage, especially now, to maybe consider hire a great therapist or mentor or coach to your staff and offer them 30 minutes of sessions. That's a great way today to help bridge the communication. I also think it's great for a salon owner to speak to a therapist on communication, how to become a better communicator. you
Mm-hmm.
know there's just so much that you can do with a therapist. There's not one apple fits every session.
Correct.
So it's so much of self-development that I think we have to invest, and it's not a luxury. Some of us might think we don't deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us think it's for the rich people, but no, this is something that we have to take on a monthly, weekly basis and get better.
Yeah.
So we can, I mean, because life is not easy. Life is not easy. And
Correct.
so if you want to achieve the things that you want in life, you need a support mechanism. You don't need to speak to your mother all the time or to your husband all the time. You need somebody who is objective and they're good at what they do.
I totally agree. And I think it allows you to get out of your own way and to fully show up and be present. We all have had difficult mornings, or, arguments with our partner right before we got into, to starting to, whatever it is, whether you're a manufacturer, salon, or whatever. Having a therapist in place allows you to deal with that there, and to show up and be present for your clients, which then creates a better environment. So if you're a manufacturer, you're running this big organization, you then can be your CEO self. You can be, because you already have a place to deal with the, crazy pants stuff that's happening. But when you don't have that outlet, it's like being emotionally constipated. And so that's going to make you feel sick. It's going to make you act out. It's going to make you do things and not be your true self. So I
Mhm.
really do encourage people to have weekly, monthly, whatever it is it can figure out or that works for you. And again, you don't have to have a problem. And you don't, so many times clients come in and are like, I don't really have anything to talk about. And that's our most productive session. You know, it just frees up space to
Agree.
talk about unaddressed things. And I
Yeah.
want to say to people out there who have a range of income or wealth, there are sliding fee scale therapists, there are self-pay therapists, there's a range. And so there really is a fit for everyone. And so don't, like you said, it's not a luxury. It's part of having a quality life. And I will say this as it ties into COVID. For every one of my clients who we've started before this, they already had that support system in place. And so again, I don't make their life perfect, but they already have coping strategies that we've worked on before the pandemic added everything else. They have someone to say for those working professionals who are balancing work, kids home all the time, meals, partner at home, all this stuff, them being at home all the time. They have an outlet so it doesn't have to come out on other people, and so they can show up to be their wonderful selves.
Thank you for that, Dr. Sissy.
Mhm.
Excuse me. Now, for anybody out there that is interested in working with your practice, your way of doing things, what would be the best way to reach out to you?
Okay.
Um, and I know you are in the East Coast,
Yes.
and I know there's people everywhere that are listening to us. What would be the best way?
So the best way is probably email. And I'll tell you, I'll spell it. It's a mouthful, and I think we'll link it on your site. But Dr. Cece at AtlantaInnovativeCounseling.com. DRCC at AtlantaInnovativeCounseling.com. My phone number is 770-293-1950, extension 105. Again, 770-293-1950, extension 105. And then either way, most likely my admin, my wonderful admin, Michelle, who your admin's been communicating, she is my other brain. So let
Mm.
me just say this as a plug to Michelle, who's amazing.
Yes,
She is truly a gift from God. Um, it's important. She's part of my support. Because I
yes,
have her, I'm freed up to be a therapist and do what I am good at. So it completely, when I say support, I mean it in all ways. Whether you have a great nanny, whether you have an admin, or anybody, your wash person, get
you
help and
need
support.
support him. You
Yes,
absolutely need
yes,
support him.
yes.
And Michelle is fabulous. Michelle is fabulous.
Isn't she?
Oh, fabulous, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
And I totally agree with you. And for anybody who listened to us, part of any kind of mentorship and learning is how to become a very good delegator, how
yes,
to recognize
yes,
of how to utilize your time for what you do best, and
yes,
how can you build a team around you that can elevate you, and how you can elevate
yes,
them.
yes,
That is the true leadership, right? That
yes,
is the true success. If we can think about running our career or running our businesses as, and if we can pick the right staff members, right, to be as at the mindset of a shareholder in your
yes,
company,
yes. That's a
that,
great one.
that's what we would have looked at. So they're not employees, they're not just staff, they are shareholders in your
Yes,
company,
yes,
right? So
yes,
learn how to delegate, learn how to work with people.
yes,
Dr. Sisi, you said something that was great. Hire great nannies, hire great doctors, hire all of that. My grandmother always told me, Ronit, I will eat pasta every day, but I will always have a housekeeper in my house.
yes, Nana. Yes, 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 yes.
So,
Yes, yeah.
well,
That
thank
is
you so
100%.
much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here. It's early in the morning. I can't thank you enough. This was a fantastic session for everybody out there. If you have comments, if you have any requests, any questions, you know that we're here every Monday to support each and one of you, but we do a lot more. We connect, we bring tips, we bring great experts like Dr. CC. And I can't wait to see you next Monday. We'll see you until then. Have a fantastic week. And remember, stick to the facts, stick to the truth, and be you, nobody else.
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm ending